Good evening, everybody. This is Pastor Wendell Jones here at another episode of our show, The Relevant Church. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm already smiling, trying to suppress a chuckle, because I just know that this show, I'm scared, y'all. I got a motley crew with me today, and I'm hoping they remember that they save and they love Jesus and they respect their pastor, all that good stuff. But I handpicked these because I know they're gonna be ready to talk and share some wonderful insight. Y'all saw the title of the show. The title of the show is Seasoned Sisters and Dating. They've already given me a hard time about the word season, and they said I should have just said old. But no, it's seasoned because that implies, yeah, you gain some years, but you've also gained some wisdom and some wonderful insight. So we want to hear about that today and try to bless some people. As a matter of fact, Tina, who's behind the camera, inspired this show. Last time we did a show with it was a mixture of some guys and some young ladies, and we heard some of the conversations. And Tina mentioned to me, she said, "I wonder what it would be like having a show with some of the more, I think you might have said, seasoned sisters about dating." And I held on to that, Tina, and so we are here today. And I'm so excited to have with me these three. I'm gonna introduce them to you. Over here to my left is Miss Lisa Bay. Let me tell you a little bit about Lisa. Lisa is a political and full voters' rights advocate. The last few months, Lisa has been all over the place in the Southeast supporting various candidates and helping a lot of people who didn't think were going to win, helping them win out there with the grassroots effort. So very proud of her. She is now a national consultant for voters' rights in the states of Alabama and Mississippi. She's also the proud owner of Lisa's Schoolhouse Rock, and she has a new venture that's tied to her political aspirations and her political agenda known as Lisa's Last Leg Campaign Services. And so, Lisa, we're excited to have you today.
Thank you for having me, sir.
And across the table, here to my immediate right, our very own minister, Angie Lipscomb, who, of course, is a minister here at CYM, but she's also the leader of AL Ministries and also Coach AL. She also has a new venture in a radio show. I think you're going to do your second or third? Her second broadcast. She also has a clothing line that y'all may have seen out there that says, "But I'm cute" for the ladies, and for the fellas says, "But I'm king." And we're so glad to have you. Angie also heads up our divorce recovery ministry, and she does a wonderful job with that as well. Yes. All right. Thank you, Ange.
Thank you, Pastor.
And last but not least, we have Minister Bennae Floyd. He is a minister here at CYM. She is also the founder of Heavenly Touch Ministries as well as One Touch Ministries. She is an author. She's a mentor. She's a wonderful mother and grandmother. She just ran out the house to get here to be with us. She told us she still smelled like fried chicken because she's been cooking. They made her cook even though they knew she had to be here today, but she was glad to cook. But I'm so excited to have them here. Now the introductions are out the way. Ladies, yes, sir. Welcome to the Relevant Church. It's nice to have y'all. Let's go ahead and throw the first question out there and see what you say. Because this is about being seasoned, but also all three of you are divorcees. Yes. And so you're in the market. Yeah. You're in the market?
Yes.
Oh, yeah? Everybody's still interested in dating?
Yes, sir.
Single
all right.
and available.
Single and available.
Just under
we just changed the name to the show Love Connection. But let me just ask you. So where you are in life, how and anyone can go first, but I want to hear from all three of you. How do you feel about dating?
Well, you know what? I'll go first. And I feel that dating is a must.
Hmm.
And you must learn how to date before you can learn how to be a mate. So if I'm not attracted to you, then I cannot be a good mate for you. So I definitely believe in dating, and I believe that we need to go back to the old way of dating.
Okay.
Don't date me over the phone.
Okay.
Don't date me through a text.
Mm-hmm.
Don't date me through an email.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up your phone and call me
Mm-hmm.
and come see me, because I have this 90-day rule. You show me what you want me to see day 1 through 90, but day 91 I get to meet the real you.
Mm.
So dating is a must.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
All right now. Okay. Old school. 90 days, so they faking the funk for 90 days.
Oh, yes.
But 91, the mask come off.
Oh yeah, and it works both ways. So don't think when I say that it's just a man thing. Women, we do it too.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
we look the way we want to look. You know, I have this thing, and forgive me, sister, about these lashes and these certain makeup. You know, I want him to see me.
Okay.
So come by and see me when I'm not dolled up. Come by and see me when you see the real me, and let's see if I'm what you're interested in.
All right, I see that. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let anybody else. Who wants to go next?
Okay, I'll go next. Pastor, thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for being here.
And I sincerely mean that. I don't take this platform lightly. And also, too, I'm proud to be a part of what you're asking today. But I'm in a good posture right about now. Very excited about dating, although I'm not dating right now because I choose not to date. Going through a divorce, had the opportunity to be a part of the ministry here by Minister Lipscomb. I went through divorce recovery twice. And all because I went through divorce recovery twice, I learned a lot, but I still had to give myself enough time to be able to apply the information so I could be in this good space that I'm at now. I know you call it the brave space now. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the brave space. I'm in a good posture. I see dating as far as a time for me as fun and adventurous. I've gone through a lot of my sad, depressed, loneliness, a lot of that I just had to confront and heal from. And so dating for me is a time, there again, of fun and adventurous, someone who I can enjoy being with socially, but at the same as that time, making understanding where we are, we just out having a fun and adventurous time. And if it chooses to go to the next step, which is courtship, then I'm good with that. But a date for me, I just want to throw that out there when I say fun and adventurous, is just having the opportunity to talk to the young man on the phone and find out some things that he has always wanted to do but hadn't had the chance to do it. But he's capable of doing it. So a date for me would be riding in a hot air balloon, baby. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a risk taker.
Take me up.
And there you go. And I want to know what you like as a risk taker. And if he say that, yeah, if he says that, you know, he has a fear, well, guess what? You have the opportunity to be on a date with me to see what I'm like being a risk taker, and on top of that, how to confront your fear. So it's a purpose and a meaning to me as far as the way I choose to date.
That's good, Lisa. Because y'all, Lisa being real restrained right now, but the Lisa we know and love came out a little bit. She called it. Because I'm a risk taker, baby. Then she pulled it back in and got prim and proper again. And
way to the hot air.
Don't worry, we got a few more minutes for you. Yeah, she in that 90-day period right now.
Yeah, she's in the court.
Yeah. Lipscomb.
Pastor, will you ask me that question again? I'm still stuck in the hot air balloon. Ask me that question one more time, because I might add that one on my list.
Yes, ma'am.
I thought Ruth Chris was good. At least it's flying over mountains.
Up in the air.
Yeah, okay.
Give me that question again, sir.
How, at this point in your life, how do you feel about dating?
At this point in my life, I am so open, and I can honestly say I'm at a place where I'm ready to date.
Okay.
I'm open for it. Like I said, I'm single and available. Just trying to get the single and committed. and might lead to from single to marriage.
There it is.
That's it right there. And that's what when I meet and conversate with someone, that's what I tell them,
Gotcha.
regardless to who it is.
Okay.
Right now, this is my status. I'm single and available.
Okay.
So I'm just at the place now. Tuesday, I'll be 61, and I should know a little something by now. But yeah, I am open and ready to date.
Okay. I noticed something a little different in what you and I think even, well, I wasn't quite kind of sure where Bennae was going with hers, but you and Lisa were a little different, because Lisa was kind of saying, I'm out here, want to have some fun, and you saying you were leaning more so toward the commitment side, seemed to be, and the popular statement now that you hear, especially in church settings, is dating to marry.
That is
So tell me about that part. Where do y'all fall in that spectrum? Like, I just want to meet somebody that I enjoy to hang out with, or and maybe ride in a hot air balloon, or I'm trying to date somebody that I don't waste my time. I just want to date somebody that's serious, who's looking for a commitment. Where are y'all? If that's the spectrum, like I just want to have a good time, or I want a serious candidate for marriage, where would y'all fall in that spectrum?
Well, me, I would fall at a 5.
About right there in the middle?
Yes, sir, right there in the middle. There again, I would want to establish up front that, hey, I just want to go have some fun and be adventurous. Right now, my focus is building my businesses.
Okay.
And I want to be able to be at a certain place so that when it's time for me to say, okay, yeah, it's still fun, it's adventurous, but now I'm ready to build some type of relationship out of this to where we transition over into courtship and possible getting engaged and getting married. I'm not there yet because I just choose there again to focus on building my businesses right now and making sure that my children are good.
Okay. That's good. That's good. What about you two?
I actually have been in that state of celibacy, not wanting to date, allowing myself to hear from God. I believe that from the church perspective, we marry too fast. And it's a traditional thing. It's because mama did it and we want to be married. I have been by myself long enough to know that I can sustain myself without a husband. But I do know that God said it's not good for Adam to be alone. So I'm not naive to being a wife. I've been a wife, but I want to be a good wife. So I believe that you have to date to get to know me, and I have to date to get to know you before we can start those marriage discussions. Because I got married real fast.
Okay.
And I didn't know him and he didn't know me. And you get to know some things about yourself in a marriage that you may not have known. So if you date me, I get to know, am I a good fit for you? You get to know, are you a good fit for me before you put a ring on it?
Okay.
Because I might not want to give it back because I'm not cheap. So, I mean, just being honest, I like nice things. So I don't want you to buy me something that you're not getting back. So let's take our time with it. Let's date and let's get to know each other. Because, we got to be honest.
I understand.
We put so many guidelines and protocols in place about how marriage should work. We're going to go to this counseling and we're going to go to this. Well, what worked for you might not work for me.
Okay. So
everybody want to go to the same counselor and go by the same 1 through 10. I might need step 11.
Okay.
So let's just, be honest. And I'm a very transparent person. You need to get to know each other before you start talking about, I want to marry you.
All right.
I might like you until day 92, and then I might not like you.
That 90 days.
I mean, but because I've seen it happen throughout my life, and I've been that person. So I'm in a place of transparency and honesty. When you get into a place where you really know that you're hearing from God, I will never marry another soul unless God say so.
Okay. So let me back up. So I'm still trying to hear in there. What would be your motivation for dating? Are you leaning more toward, let's just have a nice time, and if it develops, fine, or are you going out of the gate going like, listen, I don't want to date anybody that I wouldn't consider married.
I'm not going to say that because I don't know who I would consider marrying right now. So I'm a nice, like I said, I'm a nice looking lady. I take care of myself, and I want to be dated. I want to be treated like a queen. But you don't have to marry me to treat me like a queen. To date me, you have to treat me like a queen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna circle back around to that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
It was good. I could feel my male audience going.
Yes. And I'm worthy. See, but you have to be worthy of that. So don't just say you're a queen and don't be a queen.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to you on that.
Come right on.
Because I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all what I want to put out there on that.
Okay.
Who determines the worth? Hold that.
Yes, sir.
Hold that thought.
Gotcha.
Who determines the worth?
Gotcha.
Livska, you out there trying to have some fun, girl?
Yes, I am.
But you're also trying to get your name changed.
Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Until probably, and I wouldn't have never thought that I would say this, but until maybe, I don't know, some months, a year ago or so, I would say, yeah, I want my name changed. I'm not at that place. The focus is not necessarily on the name change.
Okay.
So I am, and I think, let me back up. Sometimes the whole word dating is so misconstrued. Because sometimes we use the word dating, but we're talking about relationship.
Yeah.
That's two different things.
Because Lisa was making a distinction in dating and courting.
And courting.
Yeah.
You know, and I tell anybody, man, all he did was ask you out to dinner, go eat.
Correct.
You know,
Okay.
the man ain't asked you to marry him. He ain't did all of that. I don't get to know him until I accept. And I remember, I think it was Brother Carlos Jones said this to me. You have to make yourself available.
Yes.
They have to know that you're available. Okay? I can't sit and wait on, well, no, honey, I can't go out to eat with you because I'm trying to get married. And no, that's not it. You know, everyone that I go on a date with or I meet, he may not be the one that I want to have a committed relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't know that until I take the time for him and I to get together, exchange numbers, start talking or whatever, okay? So it's not necessarily the marriage, but I do know I am called to be, I would say, a wife. And let me back up. I would say committed. But a lot of times, let's be honest about it. By the time we committed, we're doing wifely duties. So if I'm going to do the wifely duties, then yeah, let's go ahead and put the name on it. I'm not rushing into that, but I know what's in me. I know that's what, whomever he is, I know what I have to give him. I don't want to give it short to him because that's not fair, but if he's not the one. Now here's where the thing about the dating part. Now everybody I go on a date with, now we may take a picture together, but that ain't for everybody. Because here's why. Somebody said, well, you're hiding it. No. Because if he's not the one,
Right.
I done put it out there, and the one who thought, now, Lord, I know you told me it was her. Well, Joe over here in the way. And I made that mistake several times. So we don't do that. We have the conversation. And Lisa said something about building. I have a friend who we've always been friends, and we don't just kind of, you know how you just got that person, male friend, you just, all of a sudden they pop up, kind of. So anyway, he just popped up. But so one day he called.
Tina?
That too, but anyway, we're grown folks. You know, just pop in, pop up. So one day he called, and it was you know, it was more so, hey, thought about you. So much is going on in the world. Let's pray. He said, you know, I know you to be a prayer. This was over the phone. And that's a whole different message behind that, because I was really at a place at that point where I'm like, Lord, I know this you because I ain't been praying. I ain't felt like praying. But I know God set it up. So anyway, long story short, so sure enough, he did. And then we started conversating, and we realized that there is something that we like about each other. Mm-hmm. It really is. Okay? Me being who I am, you know, we're talking. So this is what's funny. So I sit, you know, every now and then, because this is who like I said, it's in me. I might send a nice little emoji, good morning, whatever. That's all fine. But what I did differently in this time on purpose, we had a conversation.
I want to stop right there, because that's the question I want. I want to ask all of y'all in a minute.
Okay.
What you do? What do you do different this time? But we're gonna come
Okay,
back. I
we can
want
come
to
back
learn
there.
that. I want to
Okay,
hear that.
okay.
All right, let's go back to this thing that Bennae made me think about, because and I think it's good that we are encouraging each other to be kings, to be queens, and think well of yourself. And I heard you say, but I'm worth it, and that made me think about something. In the context of relationship, who determines worth?
I'm going to say for me personally, I determine my worth.
Okay.
And it goes back to me being in a place to where I'm healed. I see myself so much differently. Some of the gifts and talents that were in there have been cultivated through, the ministry, cultivated through different teachers and instructors, and just being able to handle different kind of responsibilities given to me. So my worth is really high. One thing I don't mind talking about, and that is I choose to live a celibate life. I'm not embarrassed to say, but I've been celibate for 13 years. And to me, I look forward to one day when I do decide to be in a committed relationship with whoever I feel like I should be committed to. He needs to understand one thing about me, that my value of myself as far as who I am is really high. And also, too, the core of me, I so love and honor and respect about me first, if that makes sense what I'm saying.
Okay.
And so I determine my worth, and through dating, along with transition to courtship or whatever, then I will be able to see. I know you taught a message a while back one time about a king. You said one thing about a king is a king will recognize you.
Come on.
A king will see you.
That's right.
And a king will know you.
Yes.
And so I already know that when that time does come, the king is going to recognize me. Now, in order for me to recognize who he is, I got to be in my place. Or if I'm not in my place and I end up attaching myself to someone I shouldn't, then like you said, I done got caught up into a project. I can't do projects. So therefore, my value that I have, I determine that.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to say he will see my worth. And when you walk in your queendom status, he can recognize that. And I'm going to speak because I'm a mother of 2 sons and I have 2 grandsons. So I'm around men all the time. Men are visual, and men know who they want to have in their kingdom. I don't care if they meet you one time. They already have gone past that first date. They are thinking about what the next time is going to be like. So when you prepare yourself and your mind, we can settle. As women, we oftentimes have settled. I'm going to dumb myself down so that I can be with this joker over here. Or I like his money. Or I like his car. Well, I drive a nice car. I have a good job. So I treat myself as a queen. So I expect nothing less from the man that comes to date me. Okay. So you are going to present what you present to others.
Okay. So
that's why I say that I'm okay with going to Baskin & Robbins or Brewster's for ice cream. I'm not saying that I have to go to Ruth Chris. I don't even eat steak. I like seafood. I like to cook, as you stated before I came here. I cook. So I can do a quiet evening over dinner that I've prepared. But knowing your status as a queen doesn't mean I'm walking around with a neck full of jewelry and I got this tiara on my head. It's the way you present yourself.
Okay.
So you're not going to settle for someone to play the games that we used to play. And we have to be honest, as seasoned women at the table, we've played some games.
Okay.
And they've gotten us into some relationships that we would have loved to put back.
Lipscomb, what is it? Who sets your value?
I have to say, I set my value. I determine, and I hadn't always done that, a
placed the value in who you wanted me to be, how you wanted me to be, or whatever, even though I've always been knowing, confident in who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I set the value for myself,
Okay.
and I believe that he will and should recognize it. He may recognize what he think, and I've had this happen. He recognized one thing, but then in spending the time, then he recognized the value. That ain't the value that attracted him.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That
I've
was
had
the part that was.
a whole lot of times with that.
Yeah, see, I've been there and done that. That's why.
Well,
I can't go
let me
there.
ask y'all this then.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is going to take that question even deeper. Let's see where you are with this. What do men value?
I'll go there for me.
And but let me before I go
Yeah.
there, let me tell you what it is, because I don't want to blindside you with this. I want to see if there's a disconnect between what you just said and that question, because your statements were portraying that you are valuable to a man, but you also have to know what's valuable to men.
Yes, most definitely.
So what do men value?
Because I just had this recent conversation with someone, and that's not the wording that he used, but I believe that's what he meant. We were talking about relationship and being in a relationship, and he said something to me. He said, "You know what, Angie? I love the emotions and I look forward to the good mornings, hello, how you doing, or whatever." He said, "That's good." He said, "But what I really like to see, I love to see," and I don't think that was just for me, but anybody, he said, "is you going after all that you're going after." And it was like, I remember when I did the radio show, and like I said, this person and I, we're not in a relationship like that, but I thank God for the conversation that we had.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was sharing about the radio station and different things that I was doing, and he was like, "That's it." Now, he don't get the good morning emojis no more because, he already said that ain't what he wanted. I ain't going to say he didn't say that's not what he wanted, but we established that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like now, it's like, hey, so I believe in that to say men value the old me, I'm not even going to say the old me, but what a lot of women think is that men value the body, the sex, and all of that. That's an added. I truly believe a man values a woman who walks in her authority and her character and whatever the definition of a queen is to him. And I know that now just because I took time to have a conversation.
That's good, Andy. That's good.
I'm going to say for me, sustenance. When I'm walking in my zone and who I'm called to be, I believe that's what he values, because he sees something within me that can help him as far as what his vision is, for as where he's trying to go. I want to talk about a message that you preached on about 3 years ago on kissing. When you begin to share about what happens when, people French kiss, what's really going on, what's being released for us, the dopamine, the oxytocin.
Oxytocin.
No, oxytocin. I want to make sure I pronounce it correctly.
Come on.
Yeah. And how it releases something and it increases something within the man and within the woman. Okay. But I began to study just a little bit more on kissing, because I'm a kisser. I love to kiss, although I have not French kissed in years. But I began to study about kissing. And so what got me is it talked about the different types of kissing, the non-sexual kissing. When a man kisses a woman on her hand, he's letting her know that she's lovely. When a man kisses a woman on her cheek, he's letting her know, I'm being polite and I like you. But what really got me is that it talked about when a man kisses a woman on her forehead, he's letting her know that I don't see you as a sexual object. I'm not inviting you to my bedroom, but I love your thoughts. I love your wishes. I love your likes. I love your dislikes. And I'm acknowledging you. And if a man kisses a woman on the palm of her hand, he's saying that I trust you. And so when a man can see that my thoughts are consistent and I'm executing my thoughts, and when he sees the fruit in my thoughts, then he's seeing the inside of me, that he knows that he can kiss the palm of my hand and let me know he trusts me, because it's something that's lining up that's within him that I can help. So, and it came from, there again, just digging a little bit deeper in that message that you taught on kissing. So it's sustenance.
You got something to add to that, Bennae?
Well, these ladies took me somewhere, okay? The kissing on the head. Men don't kiss my forehead, okay? I do think a lot, but you know, that might take, you know, but just being real. Just being honest, you know, men value being able to be themselves. And I'm going to say this in a way because nobody at the table has always been saved. And I'm going to say the term that I've heard men say all the time. Men want to ride or die. They want to know that if they fall, you're going to be there to pick them up, and you're not going to talk about them on the way to help them get up. A man really values knowing that that woman is there for him when he's not there for himself. So I talk a lot to my kids, and I've always told them, you know, when they were younger boys, have a woman because you want one, not because you need one. So what do you value? So I ask that question a lot. And you oftentimes hear them say, I want somebody that's going to be there for me. You know, and we can't lose ourselves in sight of that, being that mate for them. And, you know, we talk church, and I know we this is a church setting, but I got to talk from a perspective of being in the world and not of the world. A man wants to know that you got his back, that he can trust you.
Still talking church.
He can count on you. I understand that. I am talking church, but I'm saying we need to reach other outside the four walls. Let me say it that way. We need to, men really want someone, because you can fix your hair, you can put your makeup on, put your tight clothes on. That's going to fade. When you get seasoned, it's going to fade. So are you going to be there for him? Can he count on you with your lashes and your hairdo? And I'm all right. I wear lace front wig too. I got a lot of them. But he values knowing that you are about him, because you can buy gifts. You can buy meals. You know, my mom used to always say this thing about a boy taking you to a Burger King. He buying it if he buy you a Happy Meal. So it's all about, how do you see yourself? What do you want? And he's gonna he'll come in letting you know what he values. He'll come in because you'll see it, and he doesn't have to say it out of his mouth. His actions will show you what he values. If he value your body, he will be 100% interested in your body. If he value your brain, he might kiss your forehead, as Lisa said. But being honest, no, if he value your brain, he's going to talk to you, because men like to get ideas.
Okay.
They like to grow. And sometimes men look for a mama. And you can be that mama and not be that mate, because he's looking for somebody to help him get ahead.
Okay. Interesting. Did the younger version of you know that? Did the younger version of you know that? And did she fumble that?
Know what?
What y'all just said about what men want.
For me, no, sir. No, sir. It goes back to me learning lessons. It goes back to some teaching and to some training that I received, and chose to allow it to be cultivated so that I could be different and really understanding when it comes to that. I just want to throw this in here, intimacy. I believe in being intimate, which is associating with getting a deeper knowledge of a person.
Okay.
So I want to be clear with that. And whoever he is, okay, I want to go back to that kiss also signifies I want to connect with you. So establishing that, then I feel like being intimate, there again, associating with a deeper knowledge of that person will also help me to understand what he values.
Your younger version, if she didn't know, how did she miss it?
I'll say I knew, because my dad was very loving, and my dad showed us what he wanted. But did I listen or follow the path? Absolutely not.
Okay.
So I knew it and went in the opposite direction because I did not want to be my parents. So I can say it was there. It was presented. I watched my uncles, my aunts, even my grandparents. I watched, but I saw the internal where other people only saw the external.
Okay.
So I did not want that. So I saw it and said, no, that's not for me. I need to do something different. I'm going to change the game. This is what I was saying in my mind. You know, I'm going to change the game.
How did it work?
Oh, it absolutely failed. With a capital F, failure. So yeah, the older me now, I believe that I had to go through all that I went through in order to be who I am today.
Okay.
So do I regret it? No.
Okay.
Would I have changed some things? Maybe not. Because I'm only going to be the 18-year-old Bennae that 18 years provided me to be. Now that I'm in my 50s, I understand that.
Okay.
So we want to be grown before we grown. So let's say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the young Angie?
I think really thinking back on it and thinking about me, I believe the young Angie knew. She knew that. Because I've always been very outspoken and upfront. Okay, I always have. I tell the joker when he roll up on me, I know you looking at all this right here, but it's a whole not something inside. That even as a young, I didn't realize that's what it was. I didn't know that's what it was, but that's what it was.
So you felt like she knew to look for or even understood the needs of a man back then, or
no, I guess I was thinking as far as the value that was in her.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Did the younger, because the thing is, the way that you guys answer what you learn now, what you believe men want, what they value. And I'm saying, did the younger version of you have a clue of that?
No. Then I have to say no. She did. She didn't know. You know, no, she didn't know. You know, what I always got from men, even such my dad and my uncle, you know, I always say, you know, my dad taught me a lot. My uncle taught me the game. He taught me the game. He did, and the street game. You know what I'm saying? And to my uncle would tell me like this: a joker ain't gonna respect you if you don't respect yourself. And then he might put little cuss words in there too. Okay. My dad would say the same thing almost. He would say, you have to respect yourself to earn respect. So that's what the young Angie knew. Okay. So I guess, no, she didn't know what to look for because they didn't tell me nothing beyond that part right there. Yeah. So that's why she could come off what the old uncle said and say, look, I already know what you're rolling up on. See, but she didn't know all the other parts.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, you know, when looking at our community, looking at the black community, it's very interesting statistics out there. And one that I've mentioned before on my show that surprised me initially, but then when I thought about it, I was like, I guess that's pretty accurate. One was that when looking at black women, 50% of black women on average have never been married. And then in terms of by the time they leave here, or even presently, but also by the time they leave here, only about 1 out of 4 black women will be married.
I believe.
What do y'all think about that? And why do you think that's the state?
I think that some of that is, are we talking about married on paper? See?
No.
No.
Because, but here's what's interesting. The numbers don't change that much.
Correct.
Right.
The numbers, people cohabitating, It's not as big as we think
Okay.
it is.
Okay.
So it's even if you throw that in the pot, it still doesn't move the needle that much.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Okay.
I think there could be so many reasons for that. I say for myself, and going back to the whole dating piece, for me, demographics plays a big part. I didn't always realize that. And I say that because, people say, you ain't dating nobody, da, da. And I'm like, no, and ain't nobody even approaching. When I lived in North Carolina, that was totally different. There were more single men that would approach and whatever. You don't find it here. So I think demographics plays a major role in where we are, where we're located. I think some of that too, when you said that about the 50% of women, and so many, I think it could be so many different reasons. You have those women who, quote unquote, I don't need a man, which is, anyway, I don't need a man. So she's going to always sit over here by herself. Okay. Or you have those women who have had maybe not good experiences.
Okay. Give me your top reason, because for the
My-
sake of time, I'm gonna let
okay.
you give me that top reason why you think the numbers are that way.
50%, the top
Oh,
reason.
only one out of four, really like 27% of black women will be married.
I really think it is not being open to it and settlement. Yeah.
That's good. What do y'all think? Because that's an interesting number.
Yes.
And actually, if I broke it off by age, the older you get, the smaller that number gets. What's your top reason, Bennae? You think?
I'm really trying to get the right word to say for it, because it's settling. Just a little bit is enough. I don't have to be all of yours. You just give me a little piece of something.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get a good an analysis for that, because they pretty much African American women fall in line as to what they are accustomed to and what they see. So if I see you, or if I'm around, my environment is around, I'm a girlfriend for the time that I can get my bills paid and get my hair done and get me some clothes, then I'm on to the next. So I would say it's, and I don't want to say it's taught, because no one should have to teach you to be that, but just
It
they
sounds
just
like
don't.
you're saying it's modeled, and you see
Yeah,
other,
it's
you
modeled,
see
and
other people doing
that's a
it.
very good word for it right there. It's
Yeah.
modeling. So it's just like you see, how many women, with that number being as low as it is, who are they modeling to learn how to be a wife?
Right.
So if there's no wives out there to show herself, and let's be honest, not all wives have a fairy tale life,
Right.
but we want to show that fairy tale and not show the whole story.
Right.
So so it's not modeled. I'm gonna stay there with that.
Okay.
It's not modeled.
Before I hear you, Lisa, it's real interesting though, in that in the early 70s, late 60s, our race probably married more than any other race.
Oh yeah, and then divorce, and wasn't gonna divorce.
But now we're at the bottom.
Yeah.
I wonder if
What's the number one reason you think, Lisa, that number is where it is?
Well, what came to me was lack of training. The reason why I say that, because just being a little girl and playing with a lot of the girls in the community, we all talked about wanting to be married one day. And we even played the game of being married one day with our dolls and making the pies and just all of that. So to me, it was lack of training, because you can see someone role modeling it before you, but if they don't teach you how or cultivate that development that's within you, to me, it's lack of training.
You know what I found very interesting? I think y'all gonna find it interesting too, because it really contradicts the narrative that we hear. Again, just looking at our community, black men compared to black women, black men marry at a frequency greater than y'all, and it's not outside of the race either.
No.
You know, it's the percentage outside of race is much smaller than the narrative is. But you'll see black men more inclined to marry, black men less inclined to file divorce. And it's just, it's the dynamics are very interesting, but it's not what you hear.
Right. Wow.
You know, over 50% of black men are single with no children, but that's not the narrative. You hear?
Right. That's right.
But it's something worth probing into because it has had an effect on just the dynamics of our community at large. But we can't probe all of that today.
So,
If
Pastor,
I can, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I was going to say something right there when you were saying, especially when you gave the years. Okay. Could it be, and I've gotten somewhat in trouble by saying this, and I'm all for women empowerment. Right on. I am.
I think
But
that's where you're going.
but I'm wondering now if some of that, because I know Lisa said training, but those women that was doing it in the 60s and the 70s,
Yeah.
there was some training, regardless of what the outcome is. Okay, we're talking about not married.
Yeah.
Could it be then because now I'm this superwoman, going back to what I said about I don't need a man, the men there are intimidated, which we make them be because we feel like we don't need, okay? So, because I can do all this by myself, I can get all of that. So now it makes me think from a different perspective, if that 50% of the women are those women who are in, let's say super empowerment and I got this and I don't need that. And then the brother that steps to her may not have that. So you're going to dismiss him.
You want to give the man answer to that?
Please.
Sure.
Because I believe that's what happens.
I smile a little bit because I know men smile, especially when we talk. How women often use the intimidated word.
Okay.
I'll be honest with y'all. Men are rarely intimidated by y'all.
Sure enough.
They just don't want that.
And okay.
They just don't want that. And so sometimes what it appears, and this is me speaking on behalf of women, which I could be far well, is that it appears that's something that you can say to make you feel good about not being chosen. But it's not an intimidating factor because honestly, what's there to be intimidated for?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Being a man gives you some advantages, so it's not intimidating. But one of the thing that I noticed is that when y'all were talking about the value of a man, all of y'all were describing similar men. And most of the time when you hear women talk about men ain't this and men just want that and men just want that, they are talking about a certain type of man. And sometimes they take a broad brush and paint all men like that. But there is a segment of men that y'all describe, because the men that get excited about a woman who knows where she's going is a man who already knows where he's going.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And he's not trying to find a woman who needs to be his project.
That's good.
Because, talking to the brothers in my circle, a lot of times at this age in life, men are much more careful, much more discerning, and that if he's single now, such as myself in his 50s or whatever, he's not looking for a project either.
Not at all.
No.
He's not looking for somebody who made a series of bad choices, and now he's got to come and try to fix somebody else's mistakes.
Correct.
He's not.
Exactly.
But if you seem to have your A game, then you look like that proverbial woman, that Proverbs that woman, and she had her own stuff going on.
Yeah.
Which freed him up to go do his own thing.
His thing. That's right.
That's where that thing kind of falls. So a lot of times you have to be careful that what type of men are you talking about? Because they're different. Black men are not monolithic. They're not all the same.
That's right.
We fall in classes of development.
Yeah.
We fall in classes of maturity. And normally the kind of man that most women articulate they want is a man who's got his stuff together, got his play out of his system, and he's about his business. if that's what you want, you got to know what he values.
That part,
Yeah.
exactly.
What he values in a woman.
And you only know that. I'm still going back to, you only know that by having those type of conversations. If you don't date and go nowhere, you can't have the conversations.
But
Now
conversation
you're
with who?
walking with him, with the
Not
person.
with your
Not with
girlfriend.
your. Oh,
No,
hon, listen.
no,
let-
that's
Not
that's
with
my
your,
number
not
one
with
thing.
your
Okay.
aunts.
No,
With-
what you
Y'all
do.
better start
you-
talking to
listen,
men.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, can I say that? If I may,
Before-
you don't have the right. You have the conversation with him, and like I tell some guys that I meet, I got some male friends. Okay, if it's something I don't quite understand, I'm picking up the phone and say, "Hey, can you explain this to me?" And he's going to explain it. He say, "Angie, what he said is this, and this is what you need to do." Going back, like I said, the conversation was, "This is what I like," but at the same time, and it's so funny because here's how the women talk. So the person said to me, "I've always been in relationships or married all my life. I've never really taken time for me. I need a good 6 months to take time for me." Now, my girlfriend said, "Oh, wonder was he just saying that as an excuse?" See, that's why y'all ain't got nobody. Okay. So, but when I called one of my buddies,
I'm sorry, Ed. You got our media director clutching her pearls.
because that was, because and she said it more than one time, and I'm like, no, you take a person at their word. You listen. See, we got to start listening and watching.
That's the
I
key.
respected that he told me that.
That's
Because
real.
we don't need me
That's the
keep
key.
sending a whole bunch of stuff.
That's the
And he
key.
said, "This is where I am." That's not to say in 6 months I may not. If you're available, if you ain't available, that's my loss. And that's basically how I said it. So, but when I talked to a buddy of mine told me from a male perspective, "Hey, that's a good man right there. If he could tell you that right
He
there."
could tell you that.
He said, "Girl, you better go ahead and work on you and do what you got to do." And this is what he told me. He said, "If nothing else, that man notices you.
Yeah.
Now go do you."
Yeah.
And I've taken that, and it has helped me, because whether if it's him or whomever, but if that's why I said I'm single and available for that. But this time, Angie is listening, and I'm gonna respect what you said. I'm not gonna rule you out.
I want to hear this.
you gotta
I
move it.
gotta jump in. I know
Sorry,
you
I'm
look
sorry.
at
Go ahead.
y'all read it. We
Well,
right there,
you
but
skipped
listen.
over something about the 50%.
But
And so go ahead.
But
It's
but
your
but
show.
but
It's your show.
but this,
Yes, sir. I'm gonna follow the lead.
I want to hear what you what I skipped over.
Well, when you were
I'm
talking,
gonna give you 30 seconds to
and
tell
that's
me, 'cause
fine.
we almost out
I
of
can
time.
give it. When you said the 50%, and you said more men, black men, or African American male would marry or are married, and African American women or women are not. You got to look at the statistics of how the women that were married, how the marriages ended, or what happened while in the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to go back to the 60s to 70s. I grew up around married couples. I know what went on in the house.
In those couples.
I'm going to say not just in South Carolina, in states all over the U.S. I watched African Americans in marriages during the 60s and the 70s. I watched some Claire and Cliff Huxtables. I watched some George and Wheaties. So women, men are visual, but women tend to lean more of their environment. So if they are what they see, so it's model, just what we were talking about. If they're seeing the model, I'm going to put up with anything and everything. When I'm finally see someone that has gone through that, you don't want that.
Okay.
So women don't want that. We went through a phase of the 80s and the 90s. That's where you get to that woman that Angie speaks of. I make my own money. I do my own thing. Because back in the 60s and the 70s, women were not doing that.
Gotcha.
So they wanted to do something the opposite. And that's how I'm done. Let's go. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go back sticking
Lisa,
to intimacy.
I can't let you go. We out of time.
Oh Lord.
We actually over time. And there was
Aw.
something I wanted to hear y'all say before we finish, but can I trust y'all with 30 seconds?
Yes.
Because ain't nobody kept 30 seconds yet when I've said that. So I'm gonna give y'all 30. I want 30 seconds each for you to advise the younger you. What would you tell her now about how to handle relationships. And since I cut you off, Lisa, I'm going to go with you first. Tell young Lisa Bailey now how to go about relationships. Go.
Listening is so crucial in a relationship. And asking questions. I love to ask questions so I can get an understanding to make sure what I am hearing, I can be able to interpret and know how to continue to grow so that I can be there to help build.
That's good. That's good. That's great wisdom. Bennae, what would you say to the young 20-something-year-old Bennae?
I would tell her that she does not have to be afraid to be who she is. You were gifted from a young age, and therefore you didn't have to dumb down to be in anybody's company. Mm. So that's what I would tell her. You know, you had all that. You had it.
That's good, Bennae. Ange, what would you tell 20-something-year-old Angie?
I would tell the 20-something-year-old Angie that's, since we're talking about relationships, to make sure she understands who she is, and then also understand the person that's pursuing you. Yeah.
That's good. This has been a very spirited conversation, and we need about 2 or 3 more hours to get everything out.
We need part two. We need part two. This was not long enough, so I say we need part two. I know you have a few more questions.
We might do that. We might figure out a time to come back and do that, because this was good, and I enjoy hearing everybody's take. Every take wasn't the same. That was good to hear. You all right now at this time of your life, you're the sum total of your choices and your experiences. And so, and the new stuff that you're learning, and so it's good to hear that. It's good to hear that you haven't given up on love, that you haven't given up on relationships, you haven't given up on marriage. It's good to hear that your level of self-awareness, you know you better, know you better. But the thing that I also enjoy hearing, and you just said it, just that you've learned that, man, I need to listen. I need to listen, and learning is still very important, and which is a wonderful thing. And I hope those of you who are watching tonight take away from that. We had a good time. I know y'all laughed with us and chuckled with us, but there was a lot of great stuff thrown out from these ladies, and especially young lady, young man who's at the beginning of this phase of your life where you're just starting out in your 20s and 30s, and trust me, we'll all tell you before you blink, you seasoned.
Oh, yes,
Lord. And so I would encourage you to slow down enough to hear from people who've lived, who walked ahead of you, that can tell you how to avoid some of the relational pitfalls and try to help you have listen. None of them are going to be perfect. It's not, because you're not, the person's not. There's going to be wonderful opportunities to learn. And grow together. That should be the most exciting part, is that we're unfinished, but we know enough about each other to desire to grow together. And so I hope you took that so that when you are seasoned, you can look back and go, we did all right. We did all right. Y'all, as always, I appreciate you spending time with me on Monday nights, and we try to bring something to you that that's been talked around the kitchen table or talked in the barbershop or the beauty shop. We bring it up here so you can see it here, and just trying to find ways to not only be relevant but to be beneficial to our community, and just to help us grow. Relationships matter. Absolutely. They matter. They make or break us, and they're incredibly important to God, and He wants us to be good stewards over ourselves, but also good stewards over those that come into our lives. All right, we hope we'll see you guys next Monday right back here at 7 o'clock. As always, until next time, much love.
All right.